question, which is something that maybe this is like, we don't dive into this now, and this is maybe like another episode or something. When I was thinking about TI, you asked me very graciously to be on this up and coming podcast, Table Scraps.
Huge, soon to take over the internet.
I feel like we haven't been scrapping much. I feel like our hot takes, we should have been scrapping with each other a little bit.
I know, but like we just like each other so much.
Yeah. But I want to talk about takebacks.
Okay. Yes. What?
Because I feel like this is a big general board game conversation to have, and I think this could be a whole episode.
Takebacks will have to be probably its own episode.
But I feel like it's something that comes up a lot in TI.
Yeah.
How do you feel about takebacks emotionally, and when do you allow them and when do you not in a game of TI?
Takebacks are so tricky because, you know, certain ones, if I feel like it's something that's not very consequential in terms of like someone had planned to do this tech, someone chose this tech, and then like a turn later, they're like, oh, wait, what am I thinking? Can I just do that? Can I switch it? I'm usually like, that's okay. Because if I can sort of sense that it doesn't seem like anything at the table has impacted their decision, okay. But like, I think this has happened maybe more than once, where people have gotten confused. There's like a secret agenda that's about the Nexus wormhole or something like that. And people think they think it means just a regular wormhole, not the Nexus, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I've had it happen where someone like, after a full round was like, I misread this. Is it okay if I just get a new secret agenda? And we let him. But I felt a little uncomfortable about it. I kind of feel like at a certain point, you've got to sit with it. What do you think? I've been talking for a very long time.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I just think there's an interesting thing that happens with TI. There are just so many things to think about, and your brain gets so tired over the course of the game at the end as those decisions get crunchy.
Yeah.
Also, depending on what you had to eat for dinner, if your brain has been refueled properly, all that stuff. Any kind of adjustment or grace that you request becomes more consequential and harder for the table to give.
Yes.
Where at the beginning, if you're like, oh, I meant to, I realized I can't like, the whole reason I did this was to have this guy in this system, not that one. Do you mind if I just shift this over in round one?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's very easy to be like, it's fine.
But later it's hard because people are tired and you want to just keep going forward.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think there's a moral quandary there, and I'm curious to investigate it.
Do you have any other bonus hot takes? You proposed a question that I'm prepared to address.
Wait, which one?
About
rules. Wait.
Like if you could change one rule.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. When thinking about hot takes for this game, a lot of what came to mind were ideas about what I might want to be different.
Okay.
What kind of changes, if you tweak this, if you tweak that, whatever.
Right.
So my question is, if you could change one thing, just one thing, you only get one.
Yeah.
About Twilight Imperium, 4th edition, probably playing with Prophecy of Kings, what would you change?
Well, guess what? I have
it's written on a
two
card.
answers.
Okay.
One is the practical thing I would change. The other, I don't know, maybe this is not a rule change. Maybe it's just a pitch for maybe a future expansion. Okay, the practical thing is I think what would be good would be after the first round, anytime a level 1 victory point condition is turned over, you also turn over a level 2. So you sort of know where the game is going, or because isn't that the worst where it's like you turn it over and then it's like, here's a condition that asks you to be on like 6 cultural planets or something like that. And you're like, I wasn't even like, that sucks.
Nobody's getting this.
Yeah. Or if one person, because it flipped over, it just benefits them.
Yeah.
It hasn't bothered me too much, but I've seen enough people get, pissy about it that I'm like, why not do something that just like, that makes it so that way everyone can have fun.
Yeah.
And you can sort of plan for it. I don't know. I mean, does that make the game shorter because you can plan for it more? What do you think?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I think a counter argument might be that it makes the game too easy to get to, for everybody to get to the points because it's too much option.
Yeah.
And it would make the game shorter if you have 2 pointers available early because people can be picking those up.
Yeah. Although usually the 2 pointers are pretty, they're pretty hard to pick up. You usually have to have like an advanced.
They are. You kind of need to build up to it. Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of people do creative stuff with the objectives.
Yeah.
People will
start the first 3 available.
Start with an extra one available, and you've just advanced a little bit further. I think another way people solve this often, which I've never tried, is playing to 12 points or 14 points.
I know that there's an option to play to 14 points, but meaning that you reveal the level 2s, but you play a longer game.
You play normal, you play normally, but you reveal the level 2s. You play to a higher point total rather than 10 points. Because if you play to 12 or 14,
and if you turn the point tracker over, there's an option to go up to 14. Yeah.
There is, but people will do. I know people do 12 as it's kind of a middle ground and stuff, but as a way to like get more of those level 2s out there, and it provides a little bit of a longer game and allows for people to kind of pick up more points toward the end. Yeah. And catch up a little bit maybe. And so I'd be curious to try that.
Okay. Yeah. I think
I think I've never heard of this idea of just doing a level 1 and a level 2 as you go. I think that's
But like maybe it starts off with just like 2 level 1s as usual.
Yeah.
But then after that first round, when you turn over the level 1, you turn over a level 2 as well. Yeah. So you sort of like you can maybe the level 2s are not available to be claimed yet, but it's just you can sort of see where like you can have an idea of where to expand to. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they thought about that, and there's probably a very good reason why that doesn't happen. Maybe by doing that, it makes wonkiness in the map. It may make certain areas of the map like really something that people go after, and that could like disadvantage someone. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the way the game is set up a little bit, the fact that the 2-pointers come out, it becomes a little bit of a who can boost themselves to the finish at the end with these double bonuses.
And it is exciting. The first one that you turn over, you're like, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What rule change would you make?
So my rule change, I wrote down, I'm hankering for a haypenny.
Hankering for a haypenny.
Yeah. And because I think, again,
I don't know what it means, but I love the sound of it.
I'm bringing the economy question full circle.
All right.
I think we need inflation. I think we need to have the value of trade goods and double the cost of everything.
Wow, you're angry at the Hakan.
Yes.
You are so angry at them.
But so here, stay with me on this. I think we need a half credit. In trading, there are so many times in the game where I want to make a trade. I want to be able to facilitate something with someone.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a simple like, hey, will you like wash my commodities and I'll give you something or whatever. And the fact that you're stuck with those increments of, I have two commodity faction or 3 commodity faction or 4 commodity faction, to give up 1 can be too expensive sometimes.
Oh, so you want like,
or to give up 2 becomes too much of an increment.
Yes.
So I would want to be able to give a half or 1.5.
Yeah.
And I think that would allow for a lot more transactions.
Oh, I never would have thought of that. So
this circles back to my first take about Mentac, which their 1 trade good tax is too punishing if your exchange is a washing of your commodities exchange, where you're giving the trade goods or whatever, you're helping the other person just flip over their commodities into trade goods. If you're paying someone 1 trade good for that, and then Mentac is taking 1 trade good for that, and you're left with nothing, you're a 2 commodity faction, you can't do that. Wow. It's impossible to orchestrate that ever. And so those are the areas where there are all these little areas where I'm like, if only there was more granularity in the pay.
If you could just make some change.
It would just make some change. So and it wouldn't.
You want inflation. I get it.
Yeah.
You're pro-inflation.
Or a half penny. You just make a half trade. That's it. You just double everything.
I don't see why not. Why not?
I'm curious.
I mean, maybe it makes it, I guess someone could say, that's kind of fiddly, but it's Twilight Imperium. It's already fiddly.
It's so fiddly.
There's already lots of fiddle.
Yeah.
A lot of fiddles happening.
And I actually think my theory is that it would be less fiddly because you'd feel more comfortable just throwing 1 or, just picking a number, just saying, I'll give you 2 of these or 3 of these, because let's do it.
Could we call them haypennies?
I want to call them haypennies.
It'd be like old timey.
That's why I said hankering too. I'm hankering for haypennies because it feels like it's 1823 right now.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to do my other thing, but now we're talking about economy so much. this is more than a rule change. This is a pitch this would be my hot take pitch for something I think would be fun in an expansion.
Okay.
Which is add another economic aspect, which would be, what if there was a way to build faction, we all have like faction specific upgrades to our ships and everything. But what if there was kind of like a public market of mods you could make to your ships? So like the bad pitch is that there is a special cannon that you can equip to you decide to assign it to your destroyer, and the cannon has some effect. And you now have this cannon, and maybe like if your last destroyer gets eradicated, then you lose this special weapon. Like maybe it goes back or something. And the way you get these special weapons, and again, it's sort of a reference to Eclipse. I don't know if you ever played Eclipse, but with Eclipse, you actually build your fleet. You actually you mod them. You decide what's on each type of ship. So you could get from a public market of like mods that you can add. Like maybe you add this mod onto your carriers, and now they have a certain movement capability or something like that. Or when they move to this type of thing, something happens. But maybe it's not even like a public market. Maybe we get ambitious with it, because if this is going to be a full expansion, maybe it's that you kind of craft these things, and so factions could like set up little factories where the resources are also used to actually, you gather resources from different factions because they all have different factories, and you can have special merchant ships, and the merchant ships can travel to visit factories and get resources. So if I get resources from your planet, like maybe a cultural planet gives a certain type of resource, you get like a trade good, maybe with a haypenny involved.
Wow.
And now I have these resources, and I can now craft a special mod.
We're just building a whole side game.
That's why this is
a full
side
game.
I would love a mercantile side game. And then I thought about it one more step, and I thought, well, how do you control, like, you don't want it to just be random, like here's like these are the designs that are on display. And I thought, what about this whole crafting thing doesn't even start until the first agenda phase. And when you pull an agenda, you also reveal a potential like blueprint for a type of mod. And if you you can spend your resources in the agenda phase to buy the rights to that patent. And so now once the patent has been established, now that is a mod that anyone can craft by visiting other people's factories, put on their fleet. And when someone uses your patent, you also get something special. And on top of that, if you don't have enough resources to make your mod, you can use a fragment as a wild resource, because a lot of times you're stuck with leftover fragments.
That's true. It would be nice to have a use for a leftover fragment.
So that was my very ambitious
that's
idea.
so ambitious.
That's a very ambitious.
I would play that. I would be excited to try that.
Just because then you could
I think it would mess up everything about the game. All the balance would be thrown off.
Well, because you would, the mercantile ships.
Interesting.
The mercantile ships could have like maybe a super fast movement, but they can't attack, and they can't. They don't create adjacency. It doesn't mean you can do trades. The mercantile ships exist solely to go to the factory and bring back stuff.
Yeah, I mean that kind of thing sounds interesting. The modding of ships thing, I feel like it would be so hard to prevent just completely overpowered situations from happening. I would think. I would think chaotic. Yeah, I would think you would end up in some games where it's like, oh, somebody found the craziest combination they could put together with their other powers, faction abilities, and all that stuff.
It would be chaotic, but it
would
also be crazy fun.
It'd be fun to try.
If like, so it's like,
it's the kind of thing that I think would be, it's tough given how long the game is.
I know.
If you were adding that extra stuff, because that would add extra length to the game. And I think if the game was like a 5 to 6 hour game, or it could
speed it up, because now if you have like if your fighters now have a special ability that if a fighter is in the same hex as like a cultural planet, it can do X, Y, and Z now.
It might speed it up if you do your revealing of public objectives thing, because it couldn't speed up the game because points are limited. You have to play through four rounds to even get to a place where you could acquire 10 points.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I like it. I like it. Let's talk to the designers. Let's see.
I think that was actually a pretty hot take on my part.
I think that was a really hot take.
That was a blazing hot take.
I'm feeling a little, my ears are burning.
That was
can you see the red?
My hot take was, I have an idea for an entire expansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will honestly, if they decide to seal it from this huge video chat series, what an honor.
What an honor.
Huge honor. My only request is that there's some sort of our names are incorporated somehow into this new expansion that we've invented.
Yeah.
Somehow. Alluded
somewhere.
to. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Somehow. It could be like a James, but it could be spelled like J and then like
an
alpha.
Z in there.
Yeah. Make it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.